Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chapter 1 Read Aloud. Today, I'm going to be featuring yet another book that will be in our upcoming virtual book fair that will be coming out mid-May. This book is a very interesting book. It's called Everyday Angel, and unlike an ordinary chapter-by-chapter book, this is actually 3 books in one. That's right. Aria Blue seems like an ordinary 12-year-old. She loves music and colorful shoelaces and taste testing various types of cookies. But there is much more to Aria than meets the eye. She can use her shadow like a door to travel from place to place. She can dream things into existence, and she can see when certain people need help. Because Aria is a guardian angel. Her mission? To find and guide 3 different girls, Gabby, Caroline, and Michaela, through their different problems. If she succeeds, Aria will earn her wings, but helping these girls is no easy feat, even for someone with magic powers. Things like friendship and family and, well, life are a lot trickier than Aria might have guessed. Still, she's pretty sure she's up for the challenge. So again, it's 3 different books in 3 different stories in one book, and it follows this guardian angel, Aria, and she helps out these 3 different girls. So today I'm going to be reading you chapter 1 from the first book. And so in this first book, it goes back and forth between viewpoints. So one chapter is Gabby and one chapter is Aria. Okay, so here's chapter 1, Gabby. Ready? Said Gabby, stretching. Set. She got halfway through the word go before her brother Marco took off. Cheater! She shouted, sprinting after him. The woods behind their house grew up instead of out. Trees densely piled onto hills like the one Gabby and Marco Torres were racing up now. Marco was older by 3 years, but Gabby was quick on her feet and knew the shortcuts. Marco always took the paths, but Gabby climbed the unpaths, the places where roots and rocks made stairs up the side of the forest. Come on, Gabs, his voice rang out through the trees. Keep up. Her lungs burned as she ran, twigs snapping under her shoes. She had never beaten him to the top, even when he didn't cheat. But maybe today she caught a glimpse of his bright blue t-shirt cutting between trees, and she sped up. She was so focused on catching him that she didn't see the fallen branch until it snagged her sneaker and sent her stumbling to her hands and knees on the damp ground. She sprang back up, but by then she'd lost him. His laughter rang out, and she sprinted on until she burst through the tree line, breathless and grinning. Marco, she called, I won. But Marco wasn't there. She stood at the top of the hill, catching her breath, waiting for her brother to get there and give her some line about letting her win. She waited and waited and waited. Marco? She called nervously, looking around the field. The hill was suddenly too still and too dark. The laughter that had followed her through the woods before reached her again, but it was twisted and wrong. It was her brother's voice, but he wasn't laughing any more, not at all. He was coughing, gasping, choking, and that's when Gabby woke up. She wasn't standing on a hilltop, but slouched in a stiff hospital chair next to a bed. In the bed, Marco was doubled over, coughing. A nurse rubbed his back with one hand and adjusted his IV with the other. Hey there, Gabby, Marco said between coughs. Sorry, didn't mean to wake you. It's okay, Gabby mumbled, rubbing her forehead. Bad dream. Are you all right? She asked as Marco settled back against his pillow, his face flushed. Right as rain, he said, still struggling for air. Don't tell anyone, though, he whispered loudly. I don't want them to kick me out. The nurse toying with the machine laughed a little, and Gabby managed a thin smile. Marco was always joking. But the coughing fit had clearly winded him. He looked tired. These days he always looked tired. Gabby knew it was because of the bad. When the doctors explained Marco's condition to Gabby, they didn't call the sickness by its proper name. They referred to it only as the bad, as if she didn't know how to search the internet and find out what the bad really was. Now she knew the proper term, osteosarcoma, but she found herself thinking of it as the bad. Not because she wanted to dumb it down or make it seem smaller, but because it was easier for her to picture the thing attacking her brother's body, not as a many-syllabled word, but as a monster. Monsters could be fought, and Marco was fighting. He looked at her and frowned his big brother frown and said, You were supposed to go home last night. Gabby glanced down at her crumpled clothes and thought about how wrong it felt to call the new apartment home. Home was a place in the country with wooded hills and laughter and a healthy big brother, a place Gabby seemed to get back to only in her dreams. And as bad as the hospital was, the apartment was worse. It was a ghostly shell, empty and dark. Their mom spent every free minute in the hospital with Marco. I like it better here, Gabby said, picking up the cheerful tone he dropped, and the food's good. Way better than mom's. Marco chuckled carefully. That may be true, he said, letting out a sigh. But you can't keep sleeping here. Now it's school starting tomorrow. Not just school, thought Gabby, a new school. Grand Heights Middle School. The thought of starting seventh grade there filled her with a mixture of fear and hope. When Marco had first gotten sick last year, everything had changed. Not just for him, but for Gabby, too. Suddenly, she couldn't go anywhere without being smothered by everybody's concern. Teachers, classmates, friends. Their pity became a low wall around her life. People wanted to look over and say hi, but the wall stopped them from getting too close. That was the weird thing about the sickness. Even when wasn't contagious, people kept their distance. Even Alice and Heather, who were Gabby's closest friends, started acting strange around her. They got weird and quiet and went out of their way to be polite, and she hated it. When Marco got transferred to a new hospital in a new city over the summer, Gabby had almost been relieved to leave. Grand Heights Middle School would be filled with strangers, but it would also be a fresh start. Maybe she didn't have to be that girl with the sick brother. Maybe she could just be Gabrielle Torres. Aha! So that is the first chapter of Everyday Angel. I hope you find it interesting. Remember, that's just one of the three girl stories. So you can kind of see how that everyday angel or that guardian angel is going to intervene into each one of their lives. Well, I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you buy it from our virtual book fair, and I will see you next time on Chapter 1 Read-Aloud.